If you aren't already doing the conventional deadlift, then you are missing out, because deadlifts are one of the best exercises for improving the strength and look of your hamstrings. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to do a conventional deadlift with a barbell. Welcome back to Total Body Training. My name is John Carlos, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click the subscription button. On this channel, we go over fitness tips, trends, and tutorials to help you stay informed and get in shape. And if you enjoy the content that I'm making on here, please give me a thumbs up. On with the video. For the conventional deadlift, you're going to start off with the barbell, either right where your shoelaces are tied or right against your ankle. From there, what I'll do is I bring my hips down a little bit and I pack my lats. So I do something I call proud chest, which is I roll my shoulder blades back and I open up my chest, kind of like I'm Johnny Bravo, if you ever watched that cartoon, and I keep my back very tight. I grab the barbell and I lean a little bit down. And for some people, they get very or much lower on their deadlift than I do. So you're gonna notice that my hips are up a little bit higher than most people. I'm gonna come around to talking about this because so much of deadlifting has to do with leverages. So either way, you can see that I set up with my hips lower and with my chest open and the barbell directly against my legs. I squeeze my back. This is one of the cues that I have. I squeeze and open up my chest, and then I come up from the movement, pulling the barbell and letting it drag against my leg. I lock out at the top of the movement and then I come back down. I come up again, keeping my back tight, and I come right back down, letting that barbell drift past my legs. Let's start going over some common mistakes. There are a couple of things that people do frequently wrong when they're deadlifting. Perhaps the biggest one is rounding your spine. So sometimes when people set up for their deadlift, their back is very, very rounded, and they're coming up essentially with this rounded back where they look a little bit like somebody who's old who threw out their back in their like 70s and can't get it right, or like Gollum or something like that. And so instead of doing that, what we're gonna wanna do is tighten up our back and push our chest open, as I said earlier, kind of like a Johnny Bravo situation, and pack your lats so that when you're coming up, your back is nice and tight. The deadlift is a compound movement. It works out your hamstrings, sure, and it works out your low back, but it's also activating your arms, it's working out your spinal erectors, it's working out your triceps, your chest, and your upper back. It's working out just about everything. So you wanna keep that tightness in that upper back so that you don't get that rounding. The second mistake that people make a lot when deadlifting is treating their deadlift like a squat. This is probably the most common mistake that I see people doing. So you'll see that some folks set up for their deadlift and essentially their legs are so bent in the deadlift that they just are essentially doing a squat with the barbell on the ground. And the problem with this is that squats are not the same as deadlifts. They do not target the exact same muscle groups. Sure, squats work out your legs, but deadlifts primarily work out your hamstrings and squats primarily work out your quads. If you're doing the deadlift wrong, if you're doing your deadlift like you're squatting, then you are working out primarily your quads. And that's not the goal when it comes to deadlifting. So make sure that when you set up for the deadlift that you're not so low and so upright in the position that you're essentially just doing a glorified squat that looks weird because you're holding the barbell in front of yourself. Third mistake that I see a lot of people do is setting up the barbell too far out in front of them. So sometimes people will place the barbell way past over in front of, like, say their toes, and then pull the barbell up towards themselves so the bar is not traveling in a clear path straight up when they're doing the deadlift. Make sure that you're not making this mistake. It's an easy fix. Roll the barbell so that it's in alignment with your shoelaces. Another mistake is jutting your knees too far past your barbell when you're deadlifting. This is a mistake that happens a lot when people are treating their deadlift like they're squatting. So instead of doing the movement like this, where your knees are really far past and you're really low like this, what you're gonna wanna do is have a vertical shin angle. So right here, from your ankle up to your knee, you want your leg to stay straight and your hips to be pushed back, your glutes to be pushing against the wall behind you. And when you're coming up in the movement, you wanna push them further back. When you're going down, you're also going to wanna push your glutes back so that your knees don't push forward. Now you might think, well, what's the big deal here? But the situation is that if you set up with your knees like you see right here, what happens is there isn't a clear path for the bar to come up. So there is a misalignment with how you're pulling the bar off the ground, which creates an inefficiency in how you're pulling the weight up, and anything that slows down how you're coming up out of the deadlift slows down how much weight you're going to be able to pull. It will be a limiting factor in the future. Right now it doesn't feel like it matters because maybe you're not deadlifting that much weight, but in the future when you try to go up maybe even 10 or 15 pounds in your deadlift, which you will if you're getting stronger, this could be a very big limiting factor. So let's get the roadblocks out of the way so that we can pull the deadlift up. Let's push your knees back and push your hips back so that you can push or pick the barbell up with a clear path while you're coming up and going down. This isn't really a mistake, but it's something that I need to mention. If you're new to deadlifting, make sure you go with a double overhanded grip. So when you go up to the barbell, make sure that both hands are over the barbell and your thumbs are underneath the bar. Now you might see that there is a mixed grip version of the exercise where your hands are like situated like this, but you don't need to do that in the beginning when you're a deadlifter. That is something that we save for when we're trying to get really heavy or we're trying to pull. Mixing the grip is really effective for when you need to pull very, very heavy weight, and it's not something that you need when you're a beginner. And here's the reason why you shouldn't do it. If you start off with deadlifting with that mixed grip, you end up developing an imbalance because the mixed grip essentially makes it easier for one side to pull than the other. It helps you with like leveraging and pulling the weight up. I don't entirely understand the science of it, but I can tell you from experience in my own body that one of your traps and your triceps on one side will get much bigger if you are pulling with a mixed grip. Now, I suppose you could do something that my clients do. Mixed grip pulling is easier, so what some of my clients like to do is change the grip that they're using. So maybe you can set up with a mixed grip using your left and your right hand facing one way, and then maybe you can set up with your right and your left hand setting up the other way in between sets. But as a hard and fast rule, I think it's better to learn to do your movement with both of your hands facing forward. Tutorial. All right, people, and that does it for a conventional deadlift tutorial. Question of the day: are you a conventional deadlifter or are you a sumo deadlifter? Personally, I like to sumo deadlift. Sumo deadlifting and conventional deadlifting are a little bit different. They say that one works better for some people with their leverages. Supposedly my body type is better for conventional deadlifting, but I really like doing sumo deadlifts because I find that it has less of an impact on my low back. Let me know what kind of deadlift you like to do in your programs. All right, people, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, then give it a thumbs down, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. After you watch this video, a few links are gonna pop up right over here for other deadlift tutorials. Deadlifting with a resistance band. Ashton Ruska teaching you how to do a deadlift. If you don't know Ashton, he's a USAPL powerlifter, and he's got lots of great techniques for you. Thank you so much for tuning into the Total Body Training Show. Until next time, peace.